CTV News with Lauren Stallone.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. We begin tonight with a message for manufacturers across the London region. Diversify or die. This comes as they gather to plan strategy during the tariff war. CTV's Brian Bicknell reports.
At the London area's two Armo manufacturing facilities, business is forging ahead, but at an uncertain pace, says President Ben Whitney.
When we quote a project that might be kicked off in 2 months under normal circumstances, 6 months later we're still waiting for a decision.
Armo Tool develops automated or robotic systems for other companies to make their products. In the face of U.S. President Trump's trade war, the company has had to shift gears. That means taking on new contracts it may not have considered in the past.
For instance, we delivered a robotic pizza kitchen that is in the Columbus airport, to defense work, to cannabis edible packaging cell, to our automotive bread and butter.
Whitney was among 1,000 manufacturing professionals from companies across the region taking part in Manufacturing Matters, the largest event of its kind in Canada. This year, the state of global trade resulting in new potential opportunities.
At this conference alone, for the first time, we had companies from Quebec and a delegation from Germany as well, where manufacturers from the state of Niedersachsen were here talking to different local suppliers about potential collaborations and partnerships in the future.
It's a new reality manufacturing-related businesses have had to come to terms with: diversify or become a casualty of the trade war. One business leader says local companies are faring well so far.
There's some new plants, as I mentioned, coming to town. We're not seeing mass layoffs as a whole. Certainly there has been some places affected here and there, but overall the sector's weathering the storm pretty good.
Meantime, a resignation that the Canada-U.S. trade relationship will likely never go back to the way it was.
We're either going to build calluses and capabilities and be able to thrive with things as they are, or things will get a little bit better. But holding your breath and waiting isn't going to work.
Brian Bicknell, CTV News.
Amazon plans to hire roughly 800 workers here in London ahead of the holidays. It's part of the company's plan to hire 7,000 seasonal employees across the country. Positions will be open in Amazon's fulfillment centers, sorting centers, and delivery stations. Amazon is also increasing its average wage by $1 to $24.50 per hour. Smoke filled the sky east of London yesterday as a drive shed went up in flames near Thamesford. John Smulders watched his father build the shed 45 years ago.
A lot of memories, and I helped him do that, so it's a loss.
Smulders said the shed was filled with antique vehicles as well as farm and workshop equipment. He says the fire appears to have been caused by an electrical issue. A steady stream of friends and neighbors visited on Thursday morning to check in. The building was insured, but the contents were not, so Smulders says his only option will be to sell the metal for scrap. He's just grateful fire crews were able to prevent the spread to other buildings, warning them about propane tanks in a nearby trailer.
I said, oh, by the way, there's a trailer at the back with propane tanks, 4 of them. So I said, you guys best to get around there and get them cooled down and get them out of there, because it'll be a massive explosion.
Following the recent court decision in the high-profile Hockey Canada sexual assault case, 2 local women's advocacy groups are calling for sweeping changes, demanding accountability from both the justice system and the NHL. Rita Ismail reports.
In the aftermath of the July 24th not guilty ruling in the Hockey Canada sexual assault case, 2 advocacy groups say Canada's legal and sports systems can do a better job of dealing with sexual assault allegations.
There were a number of statements that were made in the judgment that we felt we needed to respond to as advocates for survivors of sexual violence. And also, we want to be part of solutions. We want to be able to give those who are in positions of power and authority some good, strong, evidence-based suggestions on how we could make the legal process safer, stronger, and more just for everybody.
Jesse Roger of ANOVA and Jennifer Dunn of the London Abused Women's Centre are calling for urgent national reforms. In a joint statement, the two leaders outlined key demands, including transparency from Hockey Canada to release the investigation report.
For Hockey Canada to release their investigation would be really important for them to do. On top of that, with the NHL being the only professional sports organization that does not have a specific policy around sexual assault or intimate partner violence, they simply just need to do that.
They're also calling on the federal and provincial government to take action, including better judicial education on trauma and gender-based violence and reforms to courtroom practices that they say often re-traumatize survivors during cross-examination. Roger and Dunn say survivors can no longer afford to wait for systems to catch up, and that real justice must be grounded in evidence, compassion, and accountability.
We need widespread systemic change, and so we need to start somewhere. And out of the Hockey Canada verdict, this is where we're starting. Some really concrete examples on how to move forward.
The statement has already begun circulating among lawmakers and sport officials, with advocates hoping it sparks urgent dialogue and real reform. Rita Ismail, CTV News.
CTV News reached out to Hockey Canada and the Ministry of the Attorney General for comment. The government intends to introduce legislation making femicide a first-degree offence and dealing with issues surrounding non-consensual sexual images. Already hindered by previous delays, the manslaughter trial looking into the death of a 15-month-old has reached another roadblock, with both the Crown and defense involved in legal arguments. Evidence in the case has been suspended as both sides argue over taped recordings. Roseanne Vanderweel, the mother of Nathaniel McClellan, met with doctors following the toddler's death. So far, they haven't made part of the court proceedings. The trial was originally slated for 4 weeks, and so far, Vanderweel has been the only witness called in the case, which started in early September. The young boy had been in the care of his babysitter in October of 2015 before he was rushed to hospital and eventually died from a head injury. 6 years later, the babysitter at the time, 46-year-old Megan Van Hoof, would be charged with manslaughter, pleading not guilty. An eyebrow-raising report suggests it might make financial sense to offer free parking in a pair of municipal lots in the Old East Village. CTV's Daryl Newcomb explains that the cost to collect parking payments will almost equal the revenue the city brings in.
Municipal parking lot number 1 between Queens and Dundas had been shortlisted for potential redevelopment into housing. But a new staff report recommends abandoning the plan based on feedback from stakeholders in the Old East Village regarding the lot's long-term role in the business district's revitalization.
The recommendations are not to proceed at this time. And we're not saying not never, but we're saying certainly not now.
The community consultation and analysis about redeveloping Lot 1 sparked a broader conversation about the future of Lots 1 and here in Lot 2, specifically around how much it actually costs the city to collect parking fees.
The machine is so damaged I can't read the screen, so I don't even know if it will accept my payment.
Frequently damaged, the 5 parking meters are scheduled for replacement this fall at a total cost of $75,000. Anticipated repairs and maintenance will add another $12,000 a year. That's only about $37,000 less than the annual parking revenue the lots bring in, so city staff suggest a pilot project offering free parking in lots 1 and 2.
Parking fees are a big deterrent to going anywhere, so I think free parking is important for building business and maintaining businesses.
We are continually bringing in new businesses, and some of the small businesses that are located now are expanding. It's certainly going to be of great benefit.
At Granny P's Superfoods, they like the idea of free parking behind their production facility, but add that the lot needs to be more welcoming.
Attract more traffic into the area. However, there has to also be a bit of a responsibility on the city for cleaning up and making sure that people are willing to park here.
Some other BIAs have free parking lots in front of businesses, and there's 1 hour of free parking on Dundas Place downtown. Morrison doesn't think the pilot project would prompt other BIAs to ask for similar treatment.
I'm not saying that other BIAs don't have those struggles, but they don't have the struggles that we have when it comes to the street crisis that we're dealing with every day.
Free parking would not be permitted overnight. The pilot project would be evaluated prior to its conclusion, March 31st, 2027. A council committee will consider the proposal October 7th. Daryl Newcomb, CTV News.
A portion of Highway 6 north of Wyerton was shut down for a fiery collision today. The crash resulted in a water truck catching fire. OPP say there are unknown injuries at this time, and the crash remains under investigation. A large section of the Highway 6 remains closed. Fanshawe College is postponing fall convocation ceremonies in London because of the ongoing OPSU strike. The college says the decision was made to give students, their families, and supporters enough time to adjust their plans. Ceremonies were scheduled for November. Grads are now being invited to take part in next year's June convocation. London police say Western homecoming celebrations last weekend put a major strain on resources. Police estimate up to 18,000 people attended unsanctioned street parties just off campus. That resulted in double the usual number of calls to 911. Paramedics had to transport 23 people to hospital, a 29% overall increase. 136 fines were issued for various offenses like nuisance parties, noise, and parking violations. One of the biggest rural showcases in Canada is coming back to Bruce County. To mark the return of the International Plowing Match next summer, local farmers opened up their farms to the public. Scott Miller reports.
Jim and Donna Fisher were more than proud to show off their family maple syrup operation to the public as part of a recent farm tour promoting the International Plowing Match's return to Bruce County.
Very excited. We couldn't be more pumped in the sense Bruce County is home territory for us, and Brockton, the neighboring communities. It's all good, and just to be asked was just an honor just to participate.
7 Bruce County farms were on display to help kick off the lead up to next year's International Plowing Match that will be returning to Bruce County for the 4th time.
My dad plowed in the 1976 match, so this will be a 50th anniversary of it being in the same place 50 years later. So in Bruce County, we've had the privilege of hosting it 4 times, and that's quite an honor for us too.
The IPM has been showcasing agriculture for more than 120 years, featuring farming demos and plowing competitions. But in recent years, urban visitors have been going, getting their first and possibly only taste of rural life.
It's good how the urban public's very involved with it, and how it's getting more and more geared that agriculture and urban can meet together and see how each interacts and the new technologies that are taking place. That's pretty cool.
The 2026 International Plowing Match will be located just outside of Walkerton on more than 1,200 acres of Bruce County farmland.
The whole thing has evolved, and we're trying to evolve with it. We're trying to bring this plow match to be one of the best ever. We're putting it back out on the farm.
The Fishers for One will definitely be there.
We both attended 2 plowing matches previous, the 76 and the 93. So 50 years later, here we are. And we're going to take the next generation, and they're pretty excited about it too.
Near Walkerton, Scott Miller, CTV News.
The London Food Bank launched its annual Thanksgiving food drive this morning. This year, they're drawing attention to the growing impacts on young people facing food insecurity, as nearly a dozen municipalities declare a state of emergency.
It's not a natural disaster. It's not a hurricane. It's not flooding or anything else that would cause you to declare that as a state of emergency. It's an essential policy failure.
Pearson says a failure to address high housing costs and overall inflation is dramatically impacting kids, with 1 in 4 children in London facing food insecurity. He says it was 1 in 6 in 2022. Members of Young London, a community youth advocacy group, released initial analysis from a year-long research project. They say 12% of young people rely on the food bank and 45% skip meals 1 or 2 times a week. The full report is expected later in the fall.
Being a young person and just trying to navigate hormonal changes, developmental changes, figuring out your own identity and your place in society is hard enough. Never mind not having enough food, being constantly bombarded by the feelings of hunger, safety.
February, we dipped like 20%. And that month there was a lot of government supports. The Ontario government, for instance, had the one-time tax rebate that went out. When you see people get money in their pocket, the need is less here.
The wait for Swifties is almost over as the singer's highly anticipated 12th album drops at midnight tonight.
5K a day is back on 97.5
Virgin Radio.
Listen to Jeff, KP, and Backstage Ben for your chance to win $5,000
Every weekday.
5K a day.
Virgin Radio.
Canada's main stock index reversed earlier losses today to finish in positive territory and continue its streak of record highs. In Toronto, the TSX gained 53 points, and in New York, the Dow added 79, and the Nasdaq is up 89. The Canadian dollar fell more than 1/10 cent, and on commodity markets, gold lost almost $30 an ounce, and oil dropped $1.30 a barrel. The local real estate market continued its slump in September. According to the London and St. Thomas Realtors Association, only 534 homes changed hands last month, down from 616 in August. It's also a 6% drop in sales compared to September of last year. The average sale price last month fell to just under $623,000. British police are calling it a terror attack on the holiest day of the Jewish calendar. A man drove a car into a synagogue and began stabbing people. CTV's Heather Wright has more on the fear and heightened security at synagogues everywhere, including in Canada.
On this, the holiest day of the Jewish calendar, an attack at a synagogue. Police say a man wearing what appeared to be an explosive vest first drove a car into people gathered outside a temple in Manchester, England, then got out of his car and attacked others with a knife. He was then shot dead by police while trying to get inside the building. 2 people were killed, 4 others injured.
We shouldn't be scared to feel or believe in what we believe.
The attack has been deemed an act of terror and occurred in an area of Manchester home to many Orthodox Jews. It comes at a time of heightened fears in the Jewish community and rising anti-Semitism around the world. The man suspected of carrying out the attack has been identified as 35-year-old Jihad al-Shami. 3 other people have been arrested as well on suspicion of commission, preparation, and instigation of acts of terrorism and remain in custody.
I'm already able to say that additional police assets are being deployed to synagogues across the country, and we will do everything to keep our Jewish community safe.
Here at home, security has also increased outside of synagogues. Toronto police announced last month they would increase patrols throughout the high holidays, as well as during the lead up to the 2-year anniversary of the Hamas attacks of October 7th.
Scary times, obviously, and it's crazy. It's crazy. This cannot continue.
If you can always justify our murder, then it doesn't stop.
Today, Prime Minister Mark Carney called the Manchester synagogue attack an appalling anti-Semitic atrocity, vowing we will always protect the inalienable rights of Jewish communities to live their lives free from intimidation and threats of violence. And despite the increased security, there is a fear within the Jewish community, a concern that what happened in England could happen here. Heather Wright, CTV News, Toronto.
The federal government has officially launched a single procurement agency for its big defense purchases. The new Defense Investment Agency aims to cut red tape to get the Canadian Armed Forces the equipment it needs faster. CTV's Judy Trin is taking a closer look at what that means in the context of a trade war.
Of all the billions of dollars Canada spends on military equipment, 75% of it goes to suppliers in the United States. A former fighter pilot turned politician says the new Defense Investment Agency will change that.
We're not going to be spending 75 cents of our dollar south. We'll be amortizing that money out in Canada where we can, and then spending it in other places where we have to.
The agency aims to cut red tape and duplication. It will aim to prioritize selecting Canadian companies on big contracts valued at more than $100 million for equipment like drones, small arms, and shipbuilding. But there are no targets for how much less they want to spend on American weapons. The first major decision the agency will make involves procuring up to 12 new submarines to replace Canada's aging fleet. But the minister says the purchase of more F-35s from the U.S. is still under review. Canada could buy fighter jets from Sweden instead.
There's no pressure on us to make a decision until we're ready to make a decision. We're a sovereign country.
The slow play comes as trade talks drag on. Before a Senate committee, the country's top negotiator tempered expectations.
Resolvable might mean going back to where we were a year ago. I don't think that's necessarily the case, but I think we can be in a lot better position over time than we find ourselves in today.
The federal government also wants to use these big procurement contracts as leverage to encourage foreign companies to set up manufacturing here while increasing market access for Canadian companies overseas. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
Good evening. Clear overnight. We will have a bit of fog, a bit of flux off Lake Erie. We'll bring some fog in and around the area. It shouldn't be too dense. However, first thing in the morning, if you are traveling, please be aware of that. 9 degrees heading out the door early and lots of sunshine. Thanks, Jennifer, for this photo of Miss Cleo Pupstra-Stromsky. Well, Miss Cleo Pupstra-Stromsky, if you're heading out for a walk this morning, it's going to be beautiful out there, and that's much of the same for the weekend. Lots of sunshine and temperatures feeling like summer. Stay with us.
Julie Atchison joins me on the desk now. Julie, we were talking, it's a beautiful day out there today. A great time to get out there, go for walks and things like that and really take advantage.
Yeah, you want to be outside when the weather's like this. You don't want to be inside in a gym if you can avoid it. If you're going to do it, do both, right?
For sure.
So gorgeous conditions. I was out for a hike this morning. I know, Lauren, you were out for a walk, and you want to just enjoy the beautiful weather. Conditions across our region, much of the same heading into the weekend. Although, friends, it's going to get hot. Temperatures are set to climb into the upper 20s. It's going to feel like mid-summer. I don't know how you feel about that at home, but don't worry. We do have some fall weather on the way, so temperatures expected to cool off as we head toward next Wednesday, but we still have some warmth across the region. Tonight, cool and comfortable, 9 degrees in the Forest City. If you were along the lakeshore of Huron, around 12. Now, the wind's light across the region. We will have a bit of fog develop through the overnight and first thing in the morning, but lots of sunshine expected to kick off your Friday. We have some rainfall to the northwest in advance of a cold front, but all of this will ride up along the ridge that's in place. So high pressure. This is the surface ridge, but in the upper atmosphere, we have this dominant ridge in play, and that's keeping us clear, and that's going to stay put for a few days anyway. The weekend is looking fantastic. We just have some gorgeous weather to talk about this weekend. It's not going to feel fall-like. I'm sure people will even be heading to the beach with weather like this. Temperatures in the upper 20s, really just enjoying the beautiful conditions. Take advantage, because by next weekend, we'll be talking about some cooler weather for sure. Northwestern Ontario dealing with a bit of cloud cover, but not a lot to show you on the forecast model tonight, just clear conditions. So we'll go from sunny to mainly sunny for your Friday afternoon. By the late afternoon, about 27 degrees, and the winds start to take on more of a southerly flow. Saturday, 28, Sunday, 27. Now again, a normal daytime high for this time of year, 17 to 18 degrees. So we're going to be about 10 degrees above normal. By Monday, still holding on to the warmth at 27. Tuesday, the cold front comes in. So Tuesday, we'll see the frontal boundary start to roll in with some showers. We need rainfall, so likely getting some rain Tuesday with the front coming through, and then look at the drop in temperature. 16, 18 degrees Wednesday into Thursday. This is your sweater weather back in the forecast as temperatures are expected to drop off. But still some beautiful weather midweek with sunshine to a mix of sun and cloud. So we're getting into some more fall-like conditions. Midwestern Ontario, sunshine and 25 tomorrow. Mix of sun and cloud both Saturday and Sunday. Weekend highs 26 to 27 degrees. We could see some records fall this weekend. 27 on Monday and overcast. Showers in the forecast Tuesday, and then the potential for lake effect showers on Wednesday. So some cool air in the upper atmosphere will start to come in, and that generates that dark cloud cover and the chance for a few showers. So not widespread rain Wednesday. This will be the lake enhanced activity. 15, 16 degrees on Thursday, and mainly sunny. Have a wonderful Friday and enjoy the weather this weekend. It's going to be awesome out there. Lauren, back to you.
Thanks, Julie. We want you to meet a man whose journey in life hasn't only been about reaching his destination, it's also been about making a difference along the way. CTV's Garrett Berry on the pilot who's landed right into the record books.
This pair have been a lot of places over the past month.
Sunday, we only have, I think, an hour and a half flight to.
But this layover is a record setter. After their 10-hour flight yesterday from the Azores in Portugal to St. John's, Ed Galkin and his team believe he's become the oldest aviator to cross the Atlantic in a single-engine airplane, a 1976 Cessna.
We don't find it boring. I'm up there, I look around, I look down, and I say, boy, it's great being up here. It's a big ocean, and a lot of problems that you think you have, you really don't have it.
It's not just for the history books. This journey is a fundraiser for the Rotary Club's work in taking on polio around the world, the second one in a series that's already raised millions for the cause.
We've seen the greatness of Rotary and all these other organizations united together to end polio. So we don't have hope. More importantly, we believe we are seeing the end of polio.
Their friendship is a new one. These men spent just a few hours on the phone and meeting before setting off on this 5-week trip together in one of the smallest airplanes you'll ever find.
We definitely didn't have too much difficulty handling each other.
We've never been at a loss of words about what to talk about or tell jokes about. And sometimes I get irritable and sometimes he gets irritable. And usually within minutes, we're off talking about something else.
It's Ed's second world record. He's also believed to be the oldest to navigate the globe in a single-engine aircraft.
Well, I guess I'm number one.
He says if conflict and unrest subsides around the world, he might consider an around-the-world journey one more time. Garrett Berry, CTV News, St. John's.
October 3rd is often celebrated as Mean Girls Day, a reference to the popular 2004 film, but this year its significance has a different meaning.
I realized that it was like October, and I was like, oh my God, the new Taylor Swift album is coming out tomorrow.
The wait for Swifties is nearly over. Taylor Swift's highly anticipated 12th album, The Life of a Showgirl, drops at midnight. The singer put the album together while on her recent Eras tour. It will be available to stream as well as on vinyl and even on cassette tape. Swift is marking tomorrow's debut with a special release party in movie theaters across the globe. Audiences will get to see the world premiere of the album's lead single and behind-the-scenes footage of how The Life of a Showgirl came together. That's our time tonight from your second favorite showgirl. Thank you for watching. I'm Lauren Stallone. Good night.